Hey everybody, it's the Ioniq guy, and today I've got big news. Hyundai has finally spoken up about the North American charging standard now that General Motors, Ford, and Rivian have all made announcements saying they're going to switch from CCS1 to the North American charging standard. So if you want to find out what Hyundai had to say, stay tuned. So if you follow the EV industry in any way, shape, or form, you've definitely heard by now that Ford has agreed that they're going to switch to the North American charging standard. GM has agreed that they're going to switch, and Rivian just recently announced that they are going to switch as well. And they joined Aptera, who was one of the first automakers outside of Tesla that really pushed for integrating the North American charging standard into other vehicles. Now, they used it specifically because it was the most compact and it made the most sense for their very lightweight and space-efficient vehicle, the Aptera. So if you haven't seen that, I'll post a photo here. I actually have a reservation in for one because I think it's a really cool car. We'll see what happens with that. So Hyundai has finally commented, and I will read their statement now. They said, the company would consider joining the alliance of automakers shifting to Tesla's standard, but that it would have to determine that was in the interest of its customers. Now, this is about on par what I was expecting them to say. And the reason is because all the existing Tesla supercharging network in the US does not support 800 volt architecture cars. This goes for the Ioniq 6, all of Genesis's EVs, the EV6, the upcoming EV9, and all future Hyundai vehicles. The Kona Electric, the Kia Niro Electric, those are 400 volt architecture cars, so they could charge perfectly fine on Tesla's existing infrastructure, but our current Hyundai vehicles cannot. Now, there has been a limited rollout with the Tesla Magic Dock to some DC fast chargers in New York State. And Ioniq 5 owners, if they're able to get a charge started, the most they've been able to see is about 100 kilowatts. So it's definitely not pushing the car to its full limit. So it's going to take significantly longer to charge at a Tesla station. But one could argue that charging at 100 kilowatts at a station that's more convenient to a location you're trying to get to could still be beneficial in some regard. Tesla is going to begin rolling out soon their version 4 of their supercharger, which will support 800 volt cars natively. They've already begun installing them in Europe, and hopefully they'll begin installing them here in the US relatively soon. Kyle Connor from Out of Spec Reviews recently mentioned in a video that he believes that Tesla V3 superchargers could be changed to allow 800 volt charging on them, but we haven't had any official word from Tesla on that matter. But it sounds like if they are going to do this, Hyundai would want confirmation knowing that there's at least some 800 volt Tesla infrastructure when they decide to do this. But it's great to hear that Hyundai sounds like they are open to the idea, and they actually said Hyundai would consult with Tesla to see whether it could make adjustments to its charging system for Hyundai customers so they could charge faster. Hyundai already sells EVs with various charge ports. You have CCS2 in Europe. In Japan, they started selling Ioniq 5s with CHAdeMO connectors. And here in the US, obviously, we use CCS1, which is our standard. So there's no reason they couldn't physically change the port to NACS, but the fact that superchargers still only support 400 volts is probably going to be the main reason they would argue against it right now. So hopefully we hear more word from Tesla in the coming months about this changeover, because General Motors is switching to 800 volt architecture. The Hummer EV already supports it. Ford wants to do the same. There's many automakers that want to go to this higher voltage so that they can cut the current required to charge their cars, and therefore the car can accept much more power from these DC fast chargers. So I've read a lot of your guys' comments on my community posts about this. It sounds like a lot of people are against this for now, but as Tesla begins upgrading their superchargers, it probably would make more and more sense. So with all the automakers slowly starting to switch to NACS as their charging standard, we are also hearing from charger manufacturers that they are going to begin implementing NACS cables into their charging stations. So you will be able to find Tesla charging cables outside of the Tesla supercharger network. So it's beneficial to both parties. Teslas can charge at more places. Our cars can charge at more places. It's really a win-win in the short term. But I personally think long-term, we need to pick one standard and go with it. Currently, we see this with Electrify America. CHAdeMO is still around. When they just did this big rollout of new charging stations at Electrify America, they left in the old stations that had the CHAdeMO cable on them for people who drive Nissan Leafs. And The Nissan Leaf is going to be the only car left that charges with CHAdeMO, but as these Nissan Leafs age, there's not going to be many of them on the road, but we're still going to be stuck with this CHAdeMO cable at stations. And hopefully the same thing doesn't happen with CCS1. But if they did decide to only start using NACS on charging stations, you would always be able to use an adapter of some sort. That's the thing with these chargers. You can always adapt. You can adapt from Tesla to CCS, and you can adapt from CCS to Tesla. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. I'm really looking forward to hearing more from Hyundai in the coming months about what they determine and how they're going to move forward with NACS slowly taking over the automotive industry here in the US. I've never used a supercharger, but I have used a Tesla wall connector at home when I was testing out the Tesla charging adapters for the cars. And I gotta say, it definitely is a much nicer solution for charging your car. It's so much less clunky than a J1772 cord or a CCS1 cord especially. The NACS connector is just such a better design. So anyway, just wanted to share this little bit of information with you. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.